Hi there, it's Sandra with Brew City Thrifts, and I am back today at St. Vincent de Paul thrift store in Waukesha. I am really looking forward to getting inside. It's been quite a while since I've been here. This is a store that has officially granted me permission to shop and do my Thrift with Me experiences here. I'm still waiting. After several months, Goodwill has not responded to any of my attempts to reach them and get official permission. So with Goodwill, I am kind of still considering my options. Go rogue. You know, better to apologize than to ask permission, that whole thing. I'm such a rule follower. It's really hard for me to want to do that. I mean, but my other options with Goodwill is just make those trips haul videos. I don't think that's as exciting for you. So I don't know. I'm still thinking that through, but luckily with St. Vinny's, it's not a problem. So I'm going to go in. I do think I'm going to, instead of videoing with sound, I might just video and then do a voiceover. I think that's always a good option. I've not the, you know, oh man, not the most great extemporaneous speaker in the world. Hey, I just gave you evidence of that, didn't I? But anyway, I think I'm gonna go in, we'll see what happens, and I'm just excited to do some shopping with you. So let's hit it. Here I am approaching the store, and the doors are opening, and I am getting a cart. I'm pretty excited. It's been a while since I've been here. I do like wooden items, and I have a sort of a special fondness for wooden toys. They honestly don't sell super well for me. It's really just, I think they're so cool, handmade wooden toys, wooden cars. I just think they're awesome, and I almost can't help myself. I find that I use a lot of boxes for gifts and for, well, mostly for gifts, but for storage too. So I often look at them, and I saw this, this was a set of nested boxes that just, I love the design. I loved the cat on it, the sort of 4th of July vibe, and I thought very long and hard about getting it, and eventually I decided against it. It was $12, even though there were a number of boxes in there. I just felt like I could find boxes a little less expensively. This box I thought was interesting, but it was drawn on the inside, and so I left it behind. Down here I spot a large ceramic teapot. It's got a basket and bamboo design. It was very heavy, and it was $17.19. Who comes up with those prices? But I just decided that was too much for me. Again, you see me looking at a hand-carved wooden toy. I kind of compulsive that way, and but I pass on it. There are a number of other wooden items in this section that I pick up and look at, like this cassette tape decorated mail slot or wall organizer. Here are some wooden bookends, an interesting wooden lute, I think is what it is, instrument as a wall decoration. But I'm not finding anything that really is drawing me quite yet. Well, after puttering around the wood aisles, I'm starting to move into some other kinds of items, some more metal items, and this was a wine stopper set that I looked at, but decided to leave behind. The wine stoppers I pick up don't typically go very fast for me, so it has to be something really awesome. This anodized metal ice bucket I thought I just like the look of it with the copper handles. It was not very old, obviously, but just kind of I thought it was just a kind of a nice ice bucket. So I think that was the first thing I put in my cart. Here I'm starting to look at some more kitchen items and kitchenware. This looked kind of old, but had a little damage on it and it wasn't something that I recognized. This was a large IKEA brand container, some sort of storage container. I thought maybe it was a bread box. It was taped shut though, so I wasn't able to open it up and look inside, and it wasn't that special, so I left it behind. This is clearly an old grinder of some kind. It is very heavy. It looked to have been made in New Britain, Connecticut in the United States, and the brand was Universal. I was pretty interested in it. It's not something I know a lot about, but because of the age, I decided to put it in my cart and maybe look it up later.
I don't like that answer.
Here are some what seem to be vintage cornbread pans, cast iron. Well, when I say some, this is one, and then as I'm looking on the shelf, I quickly spy another one. They're actually two different brands of cast iron cornbread molds, and I think they were quite heavy, and I'm thinking, I think those go for pretty good money. So in my cart they went, and again, I was going to look them up later. I did, and I actually ended up putting them back. The sold prices I was seeing were not that high, and I don't know enough about the brands to be able to recognize whether or not these might have been more valuable molds or older molds. They didn't have a brand name on them, so I ended up putting them back. Here's a humongous collection of Dreamsicles angels. My mom kind of liked those and got me a couple when I was younger, but I'm actually going to find quickly here something far more interesting to me, which is some orca whale decorated. I think they're pronounced Boading Balls. They are Chinese exercise balls, exercise for your hands. You kind of move them around in your hands to gain dexterity. I believe they're used in martial arts or in some martial arts. And honestly, I got them because my kids love them. Both of my college age kids, college and post-college age kids, when I brought them home in the past, they take them and they give them to their friends, and they think they're pretty cool. So this looks like what I know as geisha ware. I've picked it up before, but it, while vintage, does not seem to be a very good quality, and it's just not something that I find interesting. Here I thought maybe there were some Disney Dalmatians in there that might be worth looking up, but I just decided to move on. I spot this little weirdo here, and what is on his head? An acorn? I'm not sure. I'm not really big on figurines. I like abstract figurines, if any, and so don't usually spend a lot of time here. But hey, deer horns I know are good sellers, so took a look at that for a minute. And what? Oh, and well, interesting outfits for a football game, but hey, you know, things were different back in the 50s and 60s, I guess. Here's an interesting cat that I'm kind of liking those rhinestone eyes, and the figurine is a little bit more realistic than I usually am drawn to. Here's what seems to be maybe a Mexican style painted parrot, bright colors. This is pretty. Oh, it says Mexico, so it certainly is Mexican. There's a little hole there that makes me think it was on a stick at some point, so I go with that Siamese cat, but that's unusual for me. I don't usually go for the realistic looking figurines. This looks like a salt glazed crock, and I like it, but it's obviously specific to a couple that got married. It looks like it was a gift for them, and that would be a hard sell. Two more salt glazed crocks, but specific to locations. That's a harder sell for me, so I move on. This looks like a pretty amber colored compote, maybe. It's got a nice pattern. I'm still learning glass, so I don't know who the maker is, but it did look vintage and it was pretty. I just decided it wasn't special enough for me to pick up this time around. This is very 1980s with the color and the shape and the calla lilies. This could have been a vintage pottery piece. It's signed. Kind of like the shape, but it doesn't grab me. Here's a piece of Somerset glass with purple color, so it's pretty nice, very heavy, but again, I'm just not I'm not feeling it, so I move on. I spotted another really pretty piece of glass. I love the color on this. It's a teal, very pretty with a fluted edge, some grapes on it. It looks like it could have some age, but I'm not sure if it's that old. I'm really debating it. I just am kind of in love with the color, so I do put it in my cart, and later I end up putting it back. I just decide it's not something that I feel passionate about, so I guess I'm being a little choosy on this trip, and it goes back on the shelf. Here's another pretty piece of amber glass. I love the design on it, but it's a little bigger than I want to deal with, and again, I'm feeling pretty choosy, so I leave it behind. This bowl and underplate is really intriguing to me. I don't know the maker, and it is unmarked. Looks to be hand painted and gilded. Does seem to have some age. Oh, when I said unmarked, I mean it's not a mark that I recognize. I would guess Japanese, probably mid-century, maybe 1950s or 60s. But again, it's beautiful. But I guess I didn't want to mess with it. I left it behind. This plate looks interesting, and I take a quick look, but my eye is drawn by this kind of humble but beautiful pottery mug. I really love the glaze on this. I love the color, and it is not chipped. It looks vintage. It's got a little felt on the bottom there. I think that, and for the price, it's just a little over $2. I think it was $2.50 something. That's the kind of item that makes me happy. This sure looks like it's got some age. It's obviously got a lot of crackling and some wear, but that graphic on the side is very, very interesting. And I look at it. Oh, and then this definitely grabs my eye. I recognize that. The brand is Solimene Vietri. It's an Italian pottery brand, and it is something that goes for good money. I am really interested in this bowl. I'm looking for any damage. It doesn't seem to be damaged, but at the same time, the graphic is very worn, and the bottom of the bowl is quite scratched. I do put it in my cart, and I look it up later, and can't find a comp, but while I know in general those Solimene Vietri items are very desirable, I decided that the condition issues with that particular bowl made it not such a good bet for resale, so I did put it back on the shelf. Another pottery mug. I like the shape and the glaze, but I moved on pretty quickly. This is a nice vase. I like the hand painting on it. I'm in a hurry. I think the store was going to be closing soon, and I just wanted to get out the door sooner rather than later. This looked like a Mexican piece of pottery, but there were some chippies at the spout, and it was big and heavy, so I liked the bird, but moved on. And here we have a really pretty blue glass compote, probably vintage. Okay, well, that was fun. I had a good time shopping around. I did have to hurry up a little bit. They were making a point of saying if you weren't up, checked out by 7 o'clock, then you were out of luck for making a purchase. So I did kind of hurry up there at the end, but I was and I guess it's true, I did end up putting back most of my items that I had picked up for various reasons. I just was feeling really selective. I was really not wanting to take much of a chance. I was wanting to get things that I felt like I was really confident that I would be able to sell quickly and well. And I have a lot of inventory that I'm working through. And so if it wasn't really, gonna blow me away, I wasn't so interested in keeping it. Probably I was most excited to find that Solimene Vietri Italian pottery bowl, and if only it weren't so worn. I mean, some of those bowls go for, and some of those items go for such big money, and I really had to think about it, but it was just scratched and crazed and faded just enough that I thought I don't think I would make much money on it unless it was like some super rare pattern, and I didn't find anything a match on eBay in my quick look, but again, the condition, I just thought the condition issues would prevent it from really selling very well for me, so I put that back. So not a huge haul. I also had a $5 credit, so I really only paid $5 for my items today. So hey, came away with some things that I like for very cheap, and it's a beautiful day, great day to be out thrifting, and so happy that I stopped. Come and see St. Vincent de Paul's, or St. Vinny's as it's known, if you're in the area, and let's continue to thrift on, brothers and sisters. Have a great day. Bye-bye.